Hey, how's it going out there today, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Cash, and this is Weekly Recap. What is Weekly Recap? Well, I operate this semi-truck in the United States for 1 week, and I write it all down. I break it all down. I explain it to you. That's what Weekly Recap is. If you're new here, be sure to smash that like button. Think about becoming a subscriber. I would appreciate it. Leave me comments if you got questions. I try to respond to all of them the best I can, but, some days are better than others. Now, I'm going to go over my week of operating this semi truck. I'll tell you why I did the loads, all that, how it all worked out. Try to explain it to you. I go over my cost. I go over everything I can that I think you need as a general rule of thumb for operating a semi truck. Now, I'm not here to tell you about my whole life. I'm just here to kind of help you. If you want to be an owner operator, kind of give you some insight. Been doing this for almost 20 years now. I know I look so damn boyish and young. It's hard to imagine I've been doing this for 20 years, but it gives you an insight. I've been doing it 20 years. I try to have 20 years of experience and not 1 year of experience 20 times, trying to learn it, refine it as we go. I'll pass it along to you because I am my brother's keeper. Come on, and sisters. I got nothing against the girls doing it either. It's just, the saying's my brother's keeper. Anyway, whatever. This week I'm going to go over right here is going to be from the beginning of February, the second week of February, 2025. Boom, that don't even sound right saying 2025. I feel like that's like a Star Trek, like Star Date 2025. That's not a real date. I'm not that old. Damn it. Damn, getting old sucks. Beats the alternative, though. I'll tell you that. Could be dead. Rather be alive. So I'm going to go over this week. If you tuned in last week, salute to you for watching last week and this week. I finished my week out in Pennsylvania last week. So this week we're going to try to be working our way back. Normally I like to go Minnesota out and back, but it just didn't work out where I could get back, and there was a better paying load to Pennsylvania. And the good paying load to Pennsylvania actually had a return trip with it. Um, the broker said, "Hey, do you want the return trip that goes with that load when you take the one to Pennsylvania?" And I was like, "Well, it depends on what it is and what it pays." And then he broke it down to me, and I was like, "Yeah, to have something lined up coming out of Pennsylvania, yeah, I want that because Pennsylvania was rough. It's still rough right now, but to have something coming back, it's not a great load, but it's definitely worth not having to, go around and look for another way back." So we took it. So let me go over these loads for you. It's a few things I'll talk about. I don't talk about my truck payment. I don't talk about my insurance. Don't talk about my taxes. Those are all things that you will have to figure out for yourself. It's just the way it is. I don't see any reason going over all that. I don't discuss my whole life. I'm just discussing what happened here for the week. So let's get into it. Started out Pennsylvania. This return trip was a pickup Pennsylvania return, two deliveries, for one in Ohio and one for Illinois. Okay. So it was 36 degrees, 13,000 pounds. The load was 36 degrees, 13,000 pounds, 47 empty miles, 778 loaded miles, for a total of 825 miles, and that load paid $1,750. Not a bad deal to go out for, 350 a mile, come back for, a little over $2 a mile. And it loaded quick, and it went, basically the next day had to be in Ohio, and then the day after that in Illinois. So really, it was like a 2.5 day load there. So not the worst things that could happen to you. And then I bounced. That was like, not the Chicago area, Illinois. That was like down on 70 in Illinois. So the next load I picked up was more up toward the Chicago side, and that was Illinois to Minnesota, North Dakota, North Dakota. One pick, three drop. We multi-stopping the heck out of this week. I've done this load before. It's a good load. I like doing this one. It's a dairy load. It's 34 degrees. It's 21,000 pounds. And you can run that one on start and stop. That first load was a continuous load. That is produce, which I always run on continuous. But the second load was dairy, 34 degrees. I ran it on start and stop, and it was like 34. It was like between 10 and 30 degrees outside. So the trailer didn't run a whole lot on that one, thankfully. There was one night in North Dakota where it was like 20 below zero. So I was actually heating the dairy load to keep it from freezing. So we did hit it up 202 miles all the way up to get that. 678 loaded miles. And again, there's another load that's not too bad on the multi-stop because you pick it up and then the next day you got a delivery in Minnesota from Chicago to Minnesota. And then the next morning you're up in North Dakota, and those two deliveries in North Dakota are about 5 miles from each other. So normally, you're unloaded before the sun comes up on that one. And honestly, I was just going to bounce back to Minnesota on that because it's about a 250-mile ride, and a lot of times there's nothing from North Dakota to Minnesota. That is a rough lane to get, just not a whole lot going on. Um, you can get French fries out of North Dakota, but not a lot of those loads go to Minnesota because, people got those locked down. Or you can do what I did and you can get a sugar load. A lot of sugar coming out of North Dakota, Moorhead, Minnesota up there, the sugar beets. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about up there, but they produce a lot of sugar, not from sugar cane, from sugar beets, up there. So it's a big industry up there if you didn't know. So I grabbed a load of sugar. But anyway, I was just going to run back. Let me get to this first. I was just going to run back empty, and they called me for when I got done in Minnesota, driving up to North Dakota, and they said, "Hey, you want to load back to Minnesota?" And I was like, "Yeah, I definitely. I mean, if I can make money instead of riding back empty." But I said, I don't want something where it's got to tie up a bunch of time and all that because I was going home after this and I wanted like 4 or 5 days off after this because at this point I had been out for like 2 weeks, and at 2 weeks I need 3 4 days minimum to kind of get my brain right again after being on the road. So they called me and they said, well, it's a dry load right there out of North Dakota. It was literally 5 miles away from my second stop in North Dakota, so got empty there. It was a dry load facility, basically go straight over there and get loaded. And that was 5 empty miles, 246 loaded miles, 251 total. And that was a dry load. I wrote it down as 40, but I think it was more now. I think it was like 42. Sometimes, I jot things down and I don't always like be precise with it sometimes on the weights and the temps, but um, if I remember right, that was it was really heavy. Like it was a typical dry load, like 42, 44,000 pounds. Anyway, 251 total miles, and that paid $750. So that was pretty good. The only problem was it had an extra day on it that it really didn't need. That's why it was paying good. But I didn't care because the beauty of it was delivering 13 miles from our yard in Minnesota. So I took it to the yard. It's a dry load, park it on the yard, got up the next day. That was a bummer. I hate going and delivering a load on my home time, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I mean, I'm a business owner, whoever's got the money, I got to do what they want, because that's how I get the money. So, um, not a bad load coming home. It was actually a windy day that day, and y'all know how that North Dakota, western Minnesota wind can get. Hell, I was happy to have 44,000, 42,000 pounds of sugar on the back. Hold me to the ground. Nice load to keep you from swaying in the wind. But I rode that back at like 60 mile an hour, 62. This truck, my Peterbilt 579. Um, I run on these Yokohama tires. I run that Delo oil. Try to give me sponsorship opportunities in as I can. I'm like a NASCAR driver. I drinking this. I was drinking on this Sprite Zero right here. Running my Peterbilt on my Michelin Yokohama tires. Call me somebody. They need some sponsorships. You know what I mean? Where's Love's at? Love's need to give me some diesel, damn it. But anyway, um, this truck does not particularly like 60 mile an hour, especially with a load on it. You got to go up to like 62 to 63 to get her to her happy place, okay? So I ran the load back, pretty slow speed, 63, 65, somewhere in there. Got pretty good fuel economy. Overall, I was really happy with it because, um, as you'll see here pretty soon, that 750 little bonus there on the end for doing something I was going to do anyway. Basically, they paid me to go pick it up and they paid me to deliver it. So, wasn't that big a deal. But it almost paid for my fuel for the whole week. So, man, you gotta love when they tack on a little something like that. My buddy down in Florida was telling me the other day, he's been doing that, coming down to Florida, and then right before he goes home, he tacks on a little, in-state load, and it, basically, you know, pads the numbers for the week. And I'm like, it's not a bad gig, especially like that, where, it just works out that damn good where I'm already right there at the pickup spot. I'm able to park it at the yard. It just all lines up and works out for me. That's when it works out in trucking. Sometimes you get that, sometimes you don't, but it's nice when you do. Let me go over these numbers for the week. So, not a big banger week, $5,500 for the week. I'm pretty damn happy with that, considering that's Pennsylvania back across the Midwest to the house. Pennsylvania's been rough for me here lately. I used to go to Pennsylvania, New Jersey all the time. I can't get no money coming out of there no more. I don't know. Even like our customer and our email and like all that type of freight, they just don't want to pay anything. It's like people you've been doing business with for 10 years are cutting rates on you now. It's like, hey, vey. But anyway, 5,500 for the week. I'm pretty happy with that. That was a 6-day week, by the way, to let you know. It was not the full 7. That was 6-day week. $4,400 to me. Me and my carrier together made 5,500. 4,500 of that's for me. 80-20 split. Let's talk miles. I got a bad habit of we. And the baby mama's always like, "What are you talking about, we?" And I'm like, ooh, let me crawl out of this hole I'm digging. We, as in me and my multiple personalities, me and the voices in my head. That's the we I'm talking about. Anyway, we drove me and those voices in my head drove 1,956 miles for the week. Yes, sir. That's not a big week for me, but kind of bouncing around the Midwest. I like it. 254 empty miles, 1,702 loaded miles, 13% deadhead. About average. About average. Let's talk rate per mile. $2.81 every mile this truck turned. And that seems to be about where we're at these days. 281 all miles, 225 my 80%. And that makes it $3.23 a loaded mile. So pretty good mileage rates. You got multi-stop loads, you got short loads. It tends to make for a pretty decent revenue week, in my opinion. Um, my thought is like this: not every week can be an absolute banger. Those are getting far and few between here. Maybe one or two good, solid, big time money weeks a quarter. And then everything else is fighting for it and earning it here lately. So that's what we do out here. We earning it. It's a business for sure. I put in $934 in diesel. Here's the veritable cost, as I like to say. $934 on diesel. So that little $750 run back to the house covered probably what, 75-80% of the fuel for the week. Winning. Um, and then 934 diesel, 103 on reefer. Didn't use a lot of reefer fuel this week with the dry load and the start and stop dairy load. $44 on def fluids. $0 on tolls. I have really been working on the tolls here lately. I definitely go through with Toll Guru and check my tolls, and then I check my GPS to a non-toll route when possible. Um, if I've got time on the load, especially on these lighter loads, um, I'm going around. I'm going to go around some stuff. If I've got the lighter load and the time, it's just going to happen that way. Overall, not bad. No tolls, no parking for the week, and no scales. Nice. Nice. I've got a trailer with a right way scale on it now, so I've almost eliminated, unless it's like 42,000 plus, I'm not going to the cat scale. I trust my truck and my right way scale enough now to not pay for cat scales. So that's saving a little money here and there like that. But that makes total variable cost $1,081, $1,081 on variable cost. We bring over my $4,400, subtract out $1,081 variable cost, and that leaves me $3,319 left to do what I have to do with. $3,319 left to do what I have to do with. So that's the week, folks. That's a week of scratching and clawing and trying to make money at this game I call trucking. And it's just another week in the books. Not a banger, but a survivor. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, everybody. I much appreciate it. If you made it this far and you're not a subscriber, I would recommend thinking about subscribing, maybe? Question mark? I ain't going to tell you what to do. I'm not that type of guy. I would suggest it, though. I'm just saying. I had someone tell me today, oh, man, these windshield wipers are giving me hell. And I was like, why don't you buy the heavy-duty windshield wipers like I made a video about? And they were like, what are you talking about? I was like, the money you could save if you would just watch my videos? Come on, man. But anyway, I'm a smart ass. I know it. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Thanks everybody for watching. I do appreciate you watching. Makes a great community. We all hang out. We all have fun. Come join me for a live show. Those things are awesome. Take care of each other out there. And remember, people are more important than trucking. Hi, I want to talk to you real quick about the ES Advantage card. Do you need discounts at major truck stop chains? They got them. Do you need discount on shop rates at TA and Love's? They got them. Tire discounts. They even got health insurance now. Click the link down below. Easy application, no credit check. Sign up. They give you a call back. They'll take all your information and you'll be in the network.